Welcome to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Pleasanton. I'm your host, Sblend Sblendorio. Joining me today is Mayor Karla Brown, of course, from the beautiful city of Pleasanton. Welcome, Karla.
Well, thank you, Sblend.
Well, let's start off. Do you have any topics you'd like to share with our viewers at the top of the show?
You know, this is part of the fun of doing this, is doing the Mayor's Choice. So I do have some things, as we do each time, some things to share. I'd like to take a few minutes and talk about the city's campaign to receive community input on a potential local revenue measure that could, lots of maybe coulds in this, could increase sales tax by a half-cent here within the city of Pleasanton. It's one of the key responsibilities, as you know, of a council member as to protect Pleasanton's high quality of life, and how important that is as elected officials to take a city and then hand it over as good, if not better, to the next leadership team. So without an adequate increase over time, we've seen city programs and services they've continued to increase in expenses. We've had what they call a severe structural deficit, which means financial hardship with the city if we don't make some changes. And there are many things that contribute to this situation. But right now, we're looking to engage Pleasanton residents and ask residents and stakeholders, what do you think? What's important to you? If we were to make some cuts, where do you recommend? And let's give some information so that the 5 elected bodies of the city can make decisions and still keep this quality of life that we have here. So the city recently sent a mailer to all registered voters in the city of Pleasanton, and we're asking for information. What do you think? That's the big question. What do you think? So let us know, respond to the survey. If you have any questions, there is a FAQ, frequently asked questions, on our city's website, cityofpleasantonca.gov. Lots of good stuff, but most important takeaway, no decisions have been made. We want to hear from you.
Karla, if I may, if one of our viewers didn't get anything, but could they go to the city website and take the survey?
Not sure about that. Go to the city's website and request. Okay. But if you didn't get it, make sure that you are a registered voter.
Okay.
Because it went to registered voters, and it's possible these things lapse, you moved, all kinds of reasons you may not have received it.
Okay, great. That's good. That's good information. Okay. So Karla, I'd like to spend the first half of the show on the Eastern Alameda County Human Services Needs Assessment that was recently completed. First of all, can you just tell our viewers, how was it compiled? How was it prepared, or the process, and what this is?
Well, sure. It's completed every 10 years, and it is called this Eastern, so we're out here, Pleasanton, Dublin, Livermore. Eastern Alameda County Human Services Needs Assessment. That's a mouthful. We kind of need some letters to make it government-ish. But what we do is every 10 years they do a study, and they use it as a tool to determine where should our city's resources go for meeting the needs of our community, especially for these human needs. So we use it as a way to find out what is the Tri-Valley's gaps in service. And we've had some really interesting answers in the past. 10 years ago, we found out it was dental. So people were able to get food, they were able to get medical then, but they really had a shortage of dental needs. So this is a terrific way to find out what are our gaps. And we hired a company called JSI Research and Training Institute. That was for all 3 cities, and they're providing the information. And you know, you could say, where do we need it now, and where do we need it in the future? Well, that's what JSI is helping us. They reached out to community focus groups, nonprofits, community tabling at events, farmers market, things like that. A variety of interviews, including community members, maybe you were, nonprofit leaders and staff, faith-based organizations. And you know, many of our faith-based organizations help to fill those service gaps. Right. So first responders and our joint Human Services Commission meetings at multiple cities, and of course, City Council.
Well, Karla, maybe could you tell our viewers some of the high-level findings from the study?
Absolutely. Isn't that what the study's all about?
Yep.
Find out where your gaps are and then come up with a roadmap to fill it.
Right.
So the cities of Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton continue to engage their communities, local human services, nonprofits, as I said, through Alameda County. And these are our valuable partners. These are partners who oftentimes contribute not only hours of time, but financial support as well. So while we've made some great strides, there's still a lot of work to be done. So we're going to continue to make these efforts in the Tri-Valley, and we're going to begin to engage these groups and come up with a roadmap.
Okay. Well, I understand that there was, identified some issues, challenges, as the word is probably a better word. Tell us what sort of challenges are there out there in Pleasanton?
Yeah, there are 3 challenges.
Okay.
Of course, when you hire somebody to find out what's wrong, right, where the gaps are, you would be disappointed if they came back and said everything's perfect because
right.
we know that's not the case. So there are 3 types of opportunities. That is community, youth, and nonprofits.
Okay.
So the first one, community, these are challenges our residents know very well. Housing, healthcare, mental health, which has really popped up over the last 10 years.
You and I have talked a lot about mental health care in the past,
And it's so important. But service provisions such as awareness and navigation, where can I get services that I need? Racial and cultural linguistic responses, if help is only offered in one language and you don't speak that language, you're not able to get the help that you need. So safety, substance abuse, transportation's another one. How do you get to your appointments? Especially this is true for seniors, people with physical challenges. How do they get there? Or even people that have financial hardship. There are ways to use our fixed route bus services that are very reasonable, but we need to get that information out. And the last one, youth challenges. And when I say youth, it can mean affordable health care, childcare, affordable childcare, which is kind of like an oxymoron because childcare is not affordable, right? That's very hard to afford for working parents. Access to after-school programs, summer enrichment programs, and safety for physical and psychological needs goes in with that mental health part of it, and then substance abuse, and most importantly, treatment for substance abuse. For example, we heard residents say that it can be challenging just to find these resources for substance abuse. So we need to make it easy to find so they can have access. And then one more, which is nonprofits. Nonprofit challenges. Where is the services being held? Are they being held in one city and the person in need is in another city? How can they find out about these? If you just go to the City of Pleasanton's website, it may not have the information in Dublin or Livermore. But we also want to fund for emergency preparation, floods, extreme temperatures, things like that. And it's just healthcare. Healthcare is facing an unprecedented workforce crisis. The ability to get great medical support is at an all-time challenge. And so this is something also that we studied and are going to look at how we can help.
All right, well, that begs the question, doesn't it? So what are the next steps? How do we address these or solve these, or try to address these opportunities that we have in front of us?
Well, don't you want to be elected city council? So the City Council of Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton will all be accepting the assessment, and then we're going to work with our staff to come up with plans. And also the City of Pleasanton has a Human Services Commission. They're a critical part of this. So get the word out, work with your nonprofits, work with your local service providers. And I just got back from Washington, D.C. We're looking for money. So some of our federal elected officials and our local elected officials and county supervisors, we're looking for funding and services. All of these things, roll them all together and give them a direction. But now we know where we need to be.
All right. So, Karla, if I could just, I know this is every 10 years, and I imagine it had maybe something to do with the census, or that's why it's every 10 years. But on the next steps, is that a immediate, or is that a 10-year process, or how do the 3 councils intend to get a hold of this. And you started off the show mentioning that you want to leave the city in a better place for the next set of decision makers.
Right.
So how does that going to work for you, at least for you personally?
Yeah, well, those are great questions. When I first was elected to City Council, I had no idea what PFAS, which I know is our next topic. I did not know PFAS. We had no idea COVID was going to happen.
Yeah.
So you need to be agile and be ready to adjust if new challenges come up. But it will be the job of not only our staff, but the city councils to say, where can we put resources? And my favorite, what's the low-hanging fruit? What can we address pretty easily?
Yeah.
And then what are the hardest ones? And we need to work towards both.
Yeah, and I think also to applaud you. I mean, you've been an advocate for especially mental health services, and Pleasant has made great strides in that. I'm sure you're very proud of the progress there. But I guess what you're saying is there's still a ways to go.
It doesn't take long to do our point in time, which is our homeless count, to say we still have work to do. We've done a terrific job in the city of Pleasanton with our alternative response unit, addressing the needs of those that are unhoused or unhoused challenged, and even with substance abuse. But then new people come in. It seems to be you address the needs of those, and then new people also have needs.
Well, thank you so much, Karla. But we need to take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of the Mayor's Report for Pleasanton. Welcome back to this edition of the Mayor's Report for Pleasanton. We are here talking with Mayor Karla Brown, of course, from the wonderful city of Pleasanton. Welcome back, Karla.
Thank you.
Well, let's revisit a subject we've talked on and off for a few years about, and that is PFAS, but there's some recent developments. That is that Zone 7 Water Agency recently installed a couple of monitoring wells in the Ken Mercer Sports Park. What's the purpose of these wells? Fill us in.
Sure. You know why we keep talking about PFAS? Because we keep working on it, so there's new updates to share, right? There are 2 new monitoring wells. They're called monitoring wells over at the Ken Mercer Sports Park. And I was actually doing a hike around the park, and I said, what's going on? It must be the new monitoring wells. So they were completed in early January. And these are, I think most people would be surprised to know, there's over 200 wells that are Zone 7 monitoring wells throughout this region of Livermore Valley. So Pleasanton, Dublin, and Livermore, 200. So there's lots of them everywhere. And why do we have those? They're watching the basin to find out, is there any new emerging contaminants? What's the water quality? And these at Ken Mercer are saying, is there a PFAS plume? That Teflon is what we interchange with PFAS. Is there a PFAS plume underground that is moving or migrating? And if it is, we want to know. There's been a high level monitoring by Zone 7's experts to say where is the plume and define it based on these 200 monitoring wells. Now, is it moving? And if it is, where is it moving to? Those are critical information so that Zone 7 and the City of Pleasanton final decision has not been made, drill additional wells for water supply outside the plume with clean, safe water that will meet these new and ever evolving PFAS levels. The level of contamination for PFAS looks like it's going to be parts per trillion and even single digit parts per trillion. That's about the level of measuring for these measuring devices is single digit parts per trillion, under 10. So it's going to be critical that we find good water sources because treatment is very expensive, and we do have treatment for the plume now, so we want to make sure it's contained in that area.
Okay, so now I understand a little bit better. You're trying to, in essence, find the perimeter of the plume to know where the contamination is, so you know if you drill another well, you're not in that plume.
And that perimeter doesn't move.
And moved, okay.
Right.
Understand. Yeah, well, okay. Now, I appreciate that. That really does explain it a lot better.
Okay.
So in essence, it's going to give you data. Now, how long is Zone 7 and the city of Pleasanton decided how long it'll take to monitor, to give enough data to make a decision? Or is that?
Don't know exactly how long. We've been doing sampling. We were doing it monthly, and now the state requires it quarterly, 4 times a year. So they're going to at least do regular testing to make sure, but remember they're mapping that plume with the other monitoring wells. This is just a key one because hop yard wells, the Zone 7 hop yard wells are PFAS free. So that's great news, and we want to keep it that way.
Right.
So sometimes, based on hydrology, you open a well over here and you pull things, even if they weren't being migrated before. You don't want to create a situation where you're spreading out that contaminant.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Karla. It's, you know, the Pleasanton Downtown Association seems to be always having new businesses join, and so can you highlight for us some new additions to the downtown, and then we can also talk about some upcoming events too.
Yeah, oh, we've got some exciting things going on downtown, both for events but also new shops. Over the past several months, we've seen several new additions. Great reasons to come downtown Pleasanton. One of them is called Hasu Nails. When you're gonna need your nails, do you ever get a pedicure?
I have.
There you go.
I have.
Well, here's a new place, Hasu Nails. It's Hasu. And then another one is Parasol on Main. It's a beauty salon. Maybe you get your hair done. Who knows? And then both recently opened. We have a new coffee shop called Coffee Time, and it will be coming to downtown where Bunsen Breads and Bakery used to be. So just off Main there. And of course, if you haven't caught the bug for boba, then you need to try Zen tea. Let me say that right. Zen tea, like the Z-E-N, Zen in the middle. Zen tea. And it's our newest boba shop, and it opened at the north end of downtown. And I've already seen many Amador High School students going there and enjoying that. It's a popular, I think high school students caught the bug for boba tea first. But as far as upcoming events, we have the St. Patrick's Day Brew Crawl. Have you ever done that?
Not that one, but
I know you're not going to crawl, but it's just like creep and go to store to store to store and try beer on St. Patrick's Day. We're going to set that up for March 16th. So St. Patrick's Day is Sunday, so we're going to do it on Saturday. And then our summer wine stroll is coming up May 4th. Then there's a bunny hop scavenger hunt for families, and that will be held downtown Saturday, March 23rd. Bring the whole family if you still have little kids or grandkids. If you've got any grandkids, bring them along. Bring the family. Search for eggs downtown at different locations from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon, and that is again on March 23rd. Children 10 years and younger, so you and I can't go find eggs, but maybe we can point them out for somebody.
No one has told me I can't do it.
I'm telling you, 10 years or younger.
Bring your own basket?
Bring your own basket. You're invited to come to Museum on Main, start the scavenger hunt there, and receive a goodie bag and your first clue. So that'll be fun.
What, you actually have to have a clue in order to hunt for eggs?
Well, if you get a clue, I'd take a clue.
That's true.
Yep. And there are some more upcoming events too.
Yeah, no, well actually, let's talk a little bit more about the new businesses here. So tell us a little, it seems like you have some personal services business and also some food. Has that been an excitement for you? Is that to have just more amenities for you to be able to shop or just take care of yourself? Has that been something you've looked forward to?
I love going to our new businesses. Usually, especially as mayor, I go in, I order my food, and then introduce myself to the server. And then sure enough, there's an owner or a manager that comes from the back just saying, hey, it's so nice to have the mayor coming to our business, our downtown business. And so it's really, it's rewarding. It's great to refer my friends to go there. And then to experience our downtown Pleasanton. It's been called the gem of our city, and it is. And so even though the city doesn't control who comes and goes within our businesses. We definitely want a thriving downtown. We've asked our residents, it's important to them as well. So great reasons to go downtown Pleasanton.
Well, there's always great reasons to go downtown.
Yeah.
There's so many great restaurants that have been there for a while, you know, and but all more new reasons to go downtown.
New reasons.
Right. So you mentioned that there's always good things happening in Pleasanton. So let's highlight some of those for our viewers.
All right. Well, frequently we talk about this great place that we have, which I've referred to as our busiest building downtown, and that's our Pleasanton Library. They're offering new services for seniors called memory cafes. So you got to remember that.
Memory cafes.
It's a memory test. So this is a new and unique program for adults to socialize and enjoy the library's new memory kits that contain activities designed to help individuals with recall, memories, and engagements in meaningful conversations and about life experiences. The program is recommended for senior adults with cognitive needs or challenges. And their caregivers are also welcome to enjoy, and all who come in to reminisce about our community. The series will be available from the Pleasanton Library from 3 to 4:30 in the afternoon on particular Sundays. So if you have a pencil, here's a good time. So we're going to do it starting in May, including this Sunday in February. So here's the dates: February 25th, March 10th, April 21st, and May 19th. And that's your memory quiz for Memory Cafe.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have to go over those again already.
All right, so let's do it. It's from 3 to 4:30 on the Sundays. It's going to be February 25th, March 10th, April 21st, and May 19th. And of course, go to the library's website, and they'll be right there in case you forget.
That's a great event. What else you got for events? Anything else?
That's it for now.
That's it for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we've got a bit of time here, so let's talk about some of the events you mentioned, and that is the beer crawl and the wine stroll.
Right.
And do you have a favorite there?
Ooh, I will admit that I was raised on a wine vineyard, and so wine is usually my preference. But I found that the beer crawl brings out a younger crowd, kind of a little different crowd, and they have so much fun going downtown. Sometimes they're dressed up in St. Patrick's gear, so if you have green paint on your face or some green clothes as part of the St. Patrick's Brew Crawl, it just makes it that much more fun. While you're downtown, stop in our restaurants, stop in before, during, or after, and enjoy everything Pleasanton has to offer.
Okay, so but are you saying there might be leprechauns at the beer crawl?
I hope so. No guarantees. They're quite elusive and hard to find sometimes.
All right, so that's a challenge. All right, and how about just if to kind of finish up here on the wine? I mean, I think I prefer it too, but you know, is that crowd still a fun crowd? Is it still worth coming down for the wine crawl?
Oh.
The wine
stroll.
Or crawl.
So the wine stroll, which is May 4th, it's a Saturday evening, and you go to different shops along the way. They'll pour you a glass of wine. Based on liquor laws, you have to stay in that shop or business during the as you consume your sample of wine. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a great place to go with friends. Don't go alone. That is not nearly as much fun. So 2 couples, 3 couples, all go do the wine stroll in downtown Pleasanton, and you will have memories that last. Oh, and bring your camera, take some pictures, post them on Instagram on how much fun you had in downtown Pleasanton.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we talked about that. It entice people to come to the beer crawl and the wine stroll.
Yep.
And thank you for being here and updating us. I'm Sblend Sblendorio. Join us for the next episode of the Mayor's Report for Pleasanton right here on Tri-Valley TV. Thank you so much for watching.